Good evening, Lisa.
Good evening, Andrew.
Hello.
Hello.
Sylvester McCoy. Be Doctor Who.
Do he be?
He do be. He do be do. Because I'm all West Country, and that is how we do say things in the West Country. We bloody well do. Right. Time and the Rani.
Right.
You didn't expect that.
No,
did you?
I never expect anything.
Must admit, I was quite excited for season 24.
Okay.
Not only because of Sylvester, but because the feeling was that the show was going to get a new style.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got new title sequence, you've
Yes.
got new theme arrangement, and Pip and Jane Baker, yes, are back, but there's a load of new writers
As well.
on the horizon. And frankly, I was surprised with how good it actually looks.
It does look good. It does look good.
Because visually, it seems to be a huge step up from seasons 22 or 23, just by the use of the admittedly rudimentary, by today's standards, but what was quite innovative CGI at the time. Because there's the story about the making of the title sequence. They basically had to render
For days.
like for days. Yes,
Days and
exactly.
days. You can do that now in about half an hour, not even half an
Well,
hour.
somebody on YouTube a few years ago reconstructed the entire title sequence on their either laptop or desktop or something, and it you know, the amount of time it took was ridiculously small compared, and of course the quality was a lot better as well.
Yeah.
But at the time, this I think got the show off to a great start.
A good start. Yes.
Were you excited with to have a new
Yes,
Doctor?
I was excited. I remember seeing, and I don't know if it was on Newsround or if it was on the main news. I think it was on Newsround.
Right.
And it was Sylvester McCoy's Doctor Who, and there was the pictures of the photo shoot with Sylvester and Bonnie Langford,
Because there's that.
with him clowning around with his brolly and all
There's
stuff.
him like hanging off the TARDIS like he's some sort of
And
monkey.
Isn't
or
there
something.
one there where he pulls himself back into the TARDIS or something?
I can't remember. There's all sorts.
Yeah, and I must admit, thinking, that's great. Oh, a new Doctor. That's a good. And I'm really sorry, Colin, you're never going to see this, but that doesn't mean you're not a good Doctor.
Yeah.
It just means that era is so badly done in some ways.
That's the thing, that in order to create some excitement around the new season, yes, you've got a new script editor, but nobody in real life is going to be excited by that.
Hello, Andrew Cartmel.
The Doctor is the front man of the show.
Yes.
And by having a new Doctor,
Yes.
that's the thing that gets you the publicity.
Well, it would have been utterly ridiculous for Colin to come back and just to do the regeneration.
Yeah.
Like you said, he would have come back, do half the season,
Yeah.
have the Doctor regenerate halfway
Well,
through.
that's the thing. Colin's sort of between the sort of devil and the deep blue sea, isn't he?
Because if he does the regeneration, he's going to be known as the Doctor until he regenerates. And if
Yeah.
he regenerates 5 minutes into episode
I can
1,
perfectly understand that his reasoning for not wanting to do just a scene to get him out of the way, basically. Because as he said, effectively he's still the Doctor for another year, and he's not going to get the work. So
no.
perfectly understandable. But I think they sort of get away with it. Really.
Yeah,
it's not great,
not
but
great,
it's
but
the
if
best of
you
a bad
just-
situation, I think.
You just about get away with it. I think in some ways it would have been better for the Rani to come in and just to find the Doctor on the floor in Colin's costume, but changed.
Yeah.
And not have the regeneration.
Yeah, well, maybe.
So.
But yeah, you've got Kate coming back.
Yes.
Which is very good, I think. And as we said, she basically was quite keen to get out of Dynasty, wasn't she?
Well, I think she'd finished. She was coming to the end of it. Oh yeah, but she was sick and tired of Sunshine.
Yeah, so she writes the letter to John Nathan Turner.
Dear John Nathan Turner, please let me be in Doctor Who. I miss the quarries and the rain.
Because it's I think it's Somerset, this quarry. Because when we used to live at Gillingham, it wasn't that far away from us. I don't think. So yeah, always good to get a West Country quarry.
Yes.
In Doctor Who, and you've got some returning actors.
Yeah.
Like Faroon. is
Ruin the balloon.
Ruin the balloon.
She calls herself that. That's not her. Yeah.
So that's Benedict's mum,
Benedict
who is
Cumberbatch's mum, Wanda Bentham.
Wanda Bentham, and of course Donald Pickering as well.
Donald Pickering, yes.
I mean, both of these go back all the way to like
to Troughton.
Era with the faceless ones.
Yeah.
I'd love the faceless ones to come back just to see
What
some
they
more
look
of
like.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like anything.
But yeah, getting those two on board is rather good.
It's ironic though, because there's been lots of complaints in more recent times about guest actors that come into Doctor Who having been wasted. Terence Hardiman, for instance, in The Beast Below, and Annette Crosby in Matt Smith, 11th Hour. Sorry, I temporarily forgot what it was called. But I would say they agreed to come to do it if it's good enough for them.
Wow.
And in some ways, you get Donald Pickering and you get Wanda Bentham in, both of whom are great actors, and then you slather a load of makeup on
green
them.
makeup and scales on their faces
to make them unrecognisable.
They did a rather good interview with Doctor Who magazine many years ago,
yes.
didn't they? And it was quite funny. I remember that. But yeah, the whole thing about what was it? Was it Pip and Jane Baker wanted, what was it, Solomon, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah.
They wanted the baby supposedly being cut in half.
Yeah.
And Solomon's wisdom and all that. And what was it, Jane Baker says, well, surely everybody knows that story.
No, Andrew Cartmel said to him, I don't think anybody would know what that was. And she said, I think they would. And I'm going, no, I don't think they would.
No. But on the other hand, then you've got Einstein. And then you've got Hypatia. Now, I'm going to ask you, do you know who Hypatia was? No. You should do.
No, I'm assuming it's he or she. I don't even know who. He's a Greek of some kind.
Hypatia was the last custodian of the Great Library at Alexandria.
Oh, right, okay. Well, at least I was basically right.
And gets a mention in Carl Sagan's Cosmos.
Oh, okay.
Because you know what we said about Meglos, where he's walking around the library using Scene Sync.
Scene Sync, yeah.
Hypatia was basically the last one at the library.
Okay.
So yeah, she was a very important historical figure in the sort of realm of knowledge, but is utterly forgotten these days.
Because she's a woman.
Exactly. Well, yes, basically, and her end is worth looking up because you'll be quite appalled by it. So look it up in Cosmos.
Okay.
But I just love the fact that Hypatia's in a Doctor Who story because basically she deserves one of her own.
Yeah.
She really, really does.
Like Mary Anning.
Yeah, but it's just nice that she's there. So that scores a few points from science nerds like me. Yeah, I mean, yes, you've got the silly giant brain and all that, and it is a bit sort of cod, sort of sci-fi stuff. I know sort of Jane Baker has said that they were encouraged to write comedy into it, and they weren't that keen on doing it. And yes, you've got Andrew Cartmel on board as the new script editor, but Pip and Jane Baker and Andrew Cartmel are never going to agree as to what a good story is.
They come from completely different viewpoints, and I can see both of their viewpoints.
Yeah.
But Andrew Cartmel is the loveliest person in the world, and he has a very beautiful cat.
He does. Are we going to tell him about these videos?
We might do.
Okay, I'm sure he won't watch. No. But
and of course, you've got the
what?
Tetraps.
Oh, the Tetraps. Yeah, they're quite interesting. I quite like the 4 point of view sort of vision shots where you've got 4 camera sort of inputs all going into the picture. Because the other option, of course, which would have been not so good, is to like quantel it into 4 corners of the thing. Of the, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I don't think that would have worked as well. No. So, yeah, you've got Andrew Morgan coming on board.
Yes.
And as he admits, he's sort of learning at this point. Because when he's trying to move the camera for special effects, people are telling him, oh, we can't do that, Gov. And then when it comes to Remembrance of the Daleks, he's realised they're just telling him that so that they've got an easy time of it.
Yeah.
And by Remembrance, he's quite happy to move the camera whenever he wants to.
Yes.
So yeah, it's not the greatest of stories.
It's got some nice bits in it, because I know you said that the Twitch chat room like to the bit with the Doctor and Mel.
Yeah,
where they feel each other's pulses and touch heads.
That's quite nice. Yeah, that's sort of a bit of character stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing about Kate trying to do an impression of Bonnie.
She was just mortified, I think.
But in real life, it's absolutely ridiculous
Yes.
that anyone could mistake the two of them.
Yeah, because Kate was quite a bit taller than Bonnie,
Yes.
and bigger built in some other places as well.
More busty substances,
Yes.
as Pete and Dud might say.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that she's like rattled up a costume that's identical for Mel.
Just in case.
Yeah, so that's silly.
Yes.
But what is it? Sylvester says that you can tell how late a scene has been recorded at night by how much he's like hanging on to the scenery.
Alright.
Because by about 9 o'clock he's utterly knackered.
Alright.
And he's having to like sort of prop himself up on the scenery and stuff.
Okay.
So that's quite a good game to play with that. But yeah,
and he gets to play the spoons on a bush.
Oh yeah, I mean, wasn't that J&T that they had some sort of party and
he played the spoons.
And J&T said, "Oh, we should get the spoons in."
Yeah.
And what was it? Sylvester said he thought he was drunk or something.
Yeah.
No comment on that front. No. But yeah, I mean, we've seen Sylvester play the spoons at the drop of a hat, haven't we?
Yes.
Because seeing Sylvester do his sort of cabaret routine in real life is an experience.
It is. Yes.
And when he starts flinging sausages around, you have to duck.
You do. Incoming sausage.
Yeah. But I don't mind Mark of the Rani.
Time of the Rani.
Time of the Rani, thank you. It's there is a feeling of freshness.
Yeah.
Just in the visuals.
Yeah,
maybe not in the story.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff is going to come along later. But I don't think it's sort of as bad as people make it out.
No. You probably shouldn't watch more than one episode at a time.
No, maybe
but then
not.
Doctor Who then was made to be watched one
once
episode
a week.
at a time.
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
It's it's a serial. It's made to be watched individually.
Okay.
So, yes.
Right. Shall we carry on?
Yes.
Okay. Paradise towers, and it certainly does.
Yes.
Kaz, where do we start with Paradise Towers? Richard Bryars? Let's start with Richard Bryars.
Richard Bryars is fabulous.
Yeah.
And yes, he does go a tinsy-wincy bit over the top when he's Cragnon. But he's very sinister. And I can see where he gets a bit overexcited because he's never been asked to do this kind of thing before. After this, he plays the villain quite a lot.
Yeah.
You know, because there's an episode of Inspector Morse where he's
Oh, I've not seen that.
really... Yes, you have.
Have I seen that? Oh, yes, I have, haven't I?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's got dyed black hair and he's
Lord,
really
yes.
slimy and horrible.
Blimey,
And of
yes.
course there's an episode of Midsummer Murders where he's the murderer.
Yes.
So, you know, I think in some ways this did his career a lot of good because it took him out of the Tom Good.
I was going to ask, have you seen much Ever Decreasing Circles?
A bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not bad. He's just a bit...
he's very sort of nerdy, isn't he?
He's a bit, nerdy and pedantic. We have it here somewhere.
Yeah, we should get round to seeing that.
Yeah, he's a bit sort of annoying. He likes everything done by the rule book.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That it's that thing that this is the way things are done, isn't it? And so sort of picking up on that for his casting is quite clever.
Yeah.
It's a sort of interesting mix in that the script is aiming for something that's quite sort of 2000 AD-ish.
Yes.
I mean, I know you haven't sort of read much sort of in the sort of Judge Dredd vein. I've read a bit, but not a lot. But
a bit like High Rise as well, isn't it, by J.G. Ballard?
You see, I've never read that. So
I haven't read it, and there was a film that came out, but that's a bit dystopian.
But to me, I can see it being a comic strip.
Yeah.
And that's a really fresh, interesting approach for a Doctor Who script.
Again, it's probably a little overlit in places.
Yeah, the world they're creating is a little bit inconsistent in that you've got the really dark corridors, which are all full of rubbish. And then you've got the swimming pool, And then you've got the Resi's
apartments. But then they would be kept. They would be brighter and better kept because of who they are.
It does trouble me as to where all the supplies actually come from.
Yeah.
To keep it in that sort of condition. You know, where's all the fairy liquid come from? You know, I know we say about where does the food come from.
Yeah.
And yes, they eat all the Kangs.
Yes.
But yeah, the Kangs themselves are quite interesting.
Yeah.
This sort of girl group of sort of reds and blues and yellows.
I like the idea because there's only the one yellow, isn't it? And then the yellow Kang gets killed.
Yeah.
The yellow Kang is unalive. But I like that. All that I said to you, we were watching some of it last night, and there's the conversation between bin liner and fire escape.
Yeah.
And although it's a bit nonsensical what they're saying, it's a proper conversation.
Well,
they sound like proper people.
That's the thing. The dialogue is stylised, but it's not unreal.
No.
And that's the clever thing that's going on here, I think. That they are still identifiable characters, no matter how weird a spin has been put on them. And yes, they are having to say unusual words, but I still believe in them as characters, which is perhaps... Had this been done a couple of years before,
it wouldn't be.
I wouldn't necessarily have believed in the world quite so much. Yes, it is strange and it is unusual for Doctor Who, but frankly, it's about time that Doctor Who started doing the unusual again.
Yes.
So this comes along at, I think, just the right point.
And I do like all the stuff about ice hot and build high for happiness. And
well, it's funny, the chat room were quoting that like mad, weren't they? They really latched on to the catchphrases here.
And the what was it? The girl who is not a Kang.
Yeah.
Because that's really interesting. You're a Kang, or you're not a Kang.
Yeah. What do you think of Pex then?
I can see where they're going with him. I do feel sorry for him when they keep calling him a scaredy cat.
Yeah.
And obviously he proves that he's not a scaredy cat.
I mean, again, the casting and the script don't quite match up.
No, because I think it was written for somebody who was a bit...
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, bigger.
But everybody who turned up for the audition...
That looked like that.
Didn't have a sense of humour.
And couldn't act.
And, well, couldn't have the range of acting that was required.
But in some ways, I think it works, because the fact he's just an ordinary person...
Well, that's the thing, it's a persona he's adapted for or adopted for himself, isn't it? He's basically fooling himself, isn't he? That he's this great hero figure. And
I think in some ways, had they cast somebody who was a bit more muscly, that wouldn't have worked. Yeah. Because it works against the type. The fact that he's not.
There's the whole thing about the Kang's sort of, scaredy cat, and you don't like that, do you?
No, because I don't like the whole bullying thing.
Yeah.
Having faced a little bit of bullying when I was at school, nothing that bad. Yeah. It annoys me when I want him to bite back and to fight back. Yeah. And not accept it.
What do you think of the Resis, though? They're this real sort of Hansel and Gretel fairy tale stuff, isn't it?
It is. I do spend a lot of time looking at Elizabeth Brooks' teeth going, are they real?
Oh, they're very, what was it you said? They're rabbity.
Yeah.
And that they're all sort of pointy incisors or something.
Well, they're really quite prominent, aren't they? And I'm sure that's not a real teeth, because I'm sure when I've seen her in other stuff, she's got more teeth.
And, what about the deputy chief as well? Because you've got Clive Merrison as well.
Yeah, you cannot go wrong when you get Clive Merrison in something.
I mean, the bit where he's sort of outwitted by Sylvester by reading from the rule book is
and
quite
the prisoner,
clever.
you will step 5 paces away from the prisoner.
Yeah, and put your hands on your head.
And close your eyes.
For about a minute and a half. I don't know why it wasn't half an hour or something like that. But you can see the Doctor becoming more intelligent and more manipulative in that scene, which is, of course, where we're going to go in the future.
And apparently, because Big Finish having been listening to, I've been looking at some of the stories, and they have done some stories leading up to just before the regeneration, just before Colin's daughter, or the 6th Doctor, regenerates. And apparently there is a reason why the 7th Doctor decides to be more manipulative and dark. We don't actually have those releases. I will get those at some point. But they've decided upon a reason I think it's probably something about protecting himself or hitting out before he is attacked.
Yeah.
So.
The one thing I said to you is about the scarf Sylvester gets at the end.
Yes, the red and blue.
In Time and the Rani, he's got the tartan scarf.
Yeah.
In this one, he's got the paisley scarf. Then he gets given the red and blue scarf. And I was really disappointed that he doesn't wear it in Delta and the Bannermen. Because I know when we saw sort of Andrew Cartmel at Bournemouth University, I'd got me paisley scarf on, and he went, "Oh, good scarf," and I didn't know what the hell he was on about at first, because it was just my scarf. Oh, you're right. Oh, yeah, Sylvester. It honestly wasn't intended as Sylvester tribute. It just happened to be that was what I put on.
It was cold that day.
But I honestly thought Sylvester would get a different scarf each story.
Yeah, it's just too expensive though.
Well, it would have been great for action figures. You could have collected the whole set, couldn't you? Now, these days, it's the sort of thing people would do, isn't it?
Yes.
But yeah, I certainly thought Paradise Towers was a step forward.
Yes.
You know, and there we go. Okay, right. You ready for this?
I am.
Delta and the Bannermen.
Yeah.
Oh, Lisa, what can we say about Delta and the Bannermen?
I love Delta and the Bannermen.
Lisa, I love Delta and the Bannermen too.
That is my favourite story of this season.
It is.
Hands down, no competition. And I was watching it this morning, and it's just so... It sounds weird to say joyful, because there is a lot of death in it. But it's just so much fun. I think it helps with the sort of slightly semi-hidey-high feel to it, because it's in the holiday camp. But I said to you about Stubby K. Now, I am not convinced that half of the stuff that Stubby K says in episode 3 is in the script.
What about the knots?
About the knots. Because he's just burbling. He's burbling away about knots and how he's going to tie them down good and they're not going to get away. Sheep shanks and all this. And I love it. I love Stubby K.
Yeah.
I love the fact that... Yeah, because he was a really quite a famous Hollywood actor.
Oh, yeah.
Agrees to come and do Doctor Who.
Again, the cast here is really astonishing. The number of really good people that have been assembled to do this. You know, it's a 3-part story.
Yeah.
It's not really sort of intended to be anything sort of huge.
No.
But because of what's being attempted here.
Yes.
And it's so unique, and it's such a breath of fresh air for Doctor Who at this point.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen anything like this in Doctor Who, and when I can say that, that's real high praise. Because I think Doctor Who, as a format, should be able to tell any story under the sun. There should be no such thing as a typical Doctor Who story. And part 1 really impressed me. I thought, hello, we're onto something good here. And in some ways this style is not really followed in later seasons. No. So the fact that it exists as a story on its own, 1950s rock and roll, summery, set in this sort of holiday camp. Yeah. If you'd shown this to somebody who thought they knew what Doctor Who was, they'd have said, well, that's not Doctor Who. But to me, that's a great thing to say. Yes, it's not the Doctor Who that you're expecting. No. And you've got Stubby K, you've got Hugh Lloyd, you've got
Don Henderson,
you've got Richard Davies.
Yeah, I mean Don Henderson to a certain extent is. I mean, I must say, I've never seen any Bullman or anything like that. I was going to say,
Bullman is something we should get round to seeing.
He's very much trading on his hard man image. Yeah. And I'm sure in real life he was a very nice, gentle person. Yeah. But he does it really well. And then you've got Brian Hibbard in episode 1. And I said to you, what accent is he doing? Now, according to IMDb... So it could be wrong.
Oh, that's not. I wouldn't believe anything on there.
He's doing a South African accent.
Okay,
to protest against apartheid.
For about every 1 in 3 sentences, maybe. I don't know.
Sometimes it's a bit sort of fake in it, isn't it?
Because hasn't Brian got the teeth thing? Yeah. That his front 2 teeth are false or something.
Or something like that, yeah.
And he said I could use them as the transmitter, or so. I could take the teeth out and like talk into them and listen to something stupid like that. But
and if you've ever read the book of Delta and the Bannermen, you will know that he pees on the shelf.
Oh, the Doctor was peeing over the shelf, according to the book.
Or peering.
Peering, it's meant to be. But I know we did briefly ask Bonnie Langford about this when we were sort of at the whatever do it was. And I remember saying that, you know, previous companions had got to go to Paris or Seville or Lanzarote, and then you get to go to Barry Island. Did you feel as though you were shortchanged or something? Because there is the story about that, like, there were a load of rats or something in there.
Yeah, it was the campsite they were in, I think, was pretty much disused.
Yeah, it was being upgraded, I think.
Yes. Yeah. So it wasn't being used at the time.
So some of the crew stayed overnight because it was cheaper or something. But yeah, there were a load of rats about. And but then I like that idea that it's all a bit tatty, because you've said about Heidi High.
Yes.
And we've seen the whole of Heidi High.
We have.
And for Doctor Who to tap into the Heidi High universe is brilliant. The one thing I will say, it's a great shame nobody was brave enough to do a special set of end credits for this. You have been watching.
Yes, Sylvester McCoy.
In circles,
yes.
You know.
It'd be doing the mouthing at the camera.
Oh, like Felix Bones,
Go on with Hugh Lloyd. Yeah. I can actually see Hugh Lloyd doing that.
That would, and if anybody's out there that can do an edit of the episodes,
we would love to see that.
I would love to. That would be brilliant, because that would have really shown and demonstrated that, you know, Doctor Who is being new.
Yes, and different.
And yeah, it's just a great shame that was never done. Garonwy. Time Lord.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that was easy?
Yeah, it's the way he looks at the camera at the end of episode 3.
Yeah.
You know, he looks into the camera and smiles like he knows.
Okay.
I don't know what he knows, but I just love the bit as well when they were getting ready to fight the Bannermen and Gavrok.
Yeah.
He's reading his book.
Oh yeah.
And he's just sitting there reading his book, and they take the table away to block the door, and he's just still reading his book. Excuse me, I have a runny nose.
Sylvester and the Apple.
Yeah, I love that.
Is it in part 1, isn't it?
He listens to it, and then yeah.
Because was it Tom Baker used to say that, you know, if the Doctor was offered a drink, he'd listen to it or something, and Sylvester quite independently arrives at this conclusion as well, that the Doctor will listen to an apple.
Yes, I mean the most unbelievable thing in it is the fact that Delta could get in any of Mel's dresses.
Oh, thank you for lending me your dress. Yeah.
Yeah. What? No.
I don't think so.
I don't think.
But Ken Dodd, we have to say,
yes.
Ken Dodd,
the wonderful Ken Dodd, and it's not stunt casting. He does a really good job. I mean, he really enjoys his death scene. He goes for it.
Ken Dodd is treating his part with utter seriousness.
Yeah, he's not joking.
Yeah.
He's not doing it sort of, you know.
You know, he sat down and thought about what he's doing, because isn't there the story about he brought a load of props along or something? He brought the sort of squeakers and things like that, and the sort of props department going, "What are you doing? Why?" Well, you were so busy, I didn't think you'd have time to organise all that.
So he's obviously so used to doing all his own stuff.
So he is really committed to this.
Yeah,
part.
I mean, obviously the outfit he's wearing is not great.
Well, I don't know, because again, the part he's playing is quite show busy.
I suppose.
Because he is like the public face of this, you know, this toll pole or whatever it is. So yeah, and the fact you've got the old bus and all that is brilliant. But yeah, I mean, let's just say we are big fans of the good old days.
We are big fans of the good old days.
And when Ken Dodd appears on the good old days,
oh God, it's so good.
It is by far the best moment.
Yes.
Because a lot of the good old days is basically just filling space, isn't it? Yeah,
it's filling the time until Ken Dodd's going to be on, or John
and then
Newman's going to be on, or Larry
suddenly
Grayson.
the big star will come on.
Yeah.
And when Ken Dodd Ken Dodd comes on, you are so grateful.
You are. And the reason they always put the biggest star on at the end is to make everybody. If they put them on at the beginning, I think people would have got up and walked out. So they put them on at the end to make them sit through all the rest of the dreadful acts.
Yeah.
The singers, the ventriloquists.
So yeah, hurrah for Ken Dodd. Yes. But hurrah for Delta and the Bannermen.
Yes,
I have to say.
I adore Delta and the Bannermen.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
It is, I think, these days somewhat forgotten.
Yeah.
In sort of, Remembrance of the Daleks or sort of Curse of Fenric or something like that, are inevitably held up to be better Doctor Who stories. But the sheer innovation of Delta and the Bannermen, I think, is the biggest sign that the show is going in the right direction again.
And I like Bonnie's sort of 50s outfit.
Yeah.
The other ones, some of the other ones are a bit sort of too frilly for me.
Yeah.
But that one's quite pared down, isn't it? Okay. When she's got the sort of little neckerchief and the hair tied up, and she's sort of got like capri pants on, I think it is, or something. So they're 3/4 length trousers.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for that. And we'll carry on with more Sylvester next time.
Yes.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.